Dear soul, this is one of those messages that doesn't arrive softly. It arrives like a siren in the distance, first faint, then closer, then suddenly loud enough that your whole body sits up and says, something is happening. Archangel Michael says, pay attention to the pressure you've been feeling, the heaviness in your chest, the strange silence in the air, the way your intuition has been knocking louder than normal. That is not fear. That is warning mixed with protection, because something is unfolding in your area, quietly on the outside, but violently underneath, and you already sensed it. You sensed the same car slowing down. You sensed eyes watching from angles you couldn't explain. You sensed that you were being discussed somewhere, by people you've never sat with, in rooms you've never entered, and you tried to dismiss it as overthinking. But the truth is, your spirit was catching signals your mind couldn't yet prove. Archangel Michael says, the air in your area is thick with tension because something massive is about to break loose. Authorities have been quietly monitoring movements for weeks, and the moment of explosion is here, not because you did something wrong, but because someone tried to make your name useful to their wrong. They didn't choose you because you were weak. They chose you because they thought you were quiet. They thought you were easy to mislabel. They thought you wouldn't fight back, wouldn't question, wouldn't speak. But what they didn't understand is that your silence was never surrender. Your silence was survival. And now survival is turning into vindication. Type amen if you receive this. 333. Archangel Michael says, this isn't just about a crime. It's about someone who had your name hidden in their private list. A list, a folder, a saved note, a record that didn't belong to you. And the shocking part isn't only that your name was there. It's why it was there. Your name wasn't on that list by accident. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't confusion. It was strategic. Somebody made a deal that involved you without your permission. Somebody used your identity, your details, your presence in their story to cover their own tracks. They needed a name that wouldn't raise immediate suspicion. They needed someone who seemed harmless, someone who doesn't live loud, someone who doesn't chase drama. And they thought, use them. If things go wrong, point at them. Archangel Michael says, they knew you weren't guilty, but you were useful. And yes, that will hurt, because betrayal always hurts more when it comes with calculation. Type amen if you're ready for the truth. 909. Behind closed doors, documents have been passed around, reports compiled, numbers traced, timelines pieced together, and your name has been mentioned more times than you would believe. Not in gossip, not in rumors, in official conversations, in intercepted information, in discussions where people wear badges and speak in low voices under artificial lights. And here's the chilling part. Archangel Michael says, your name was mentioned in an intercepted phone call. A man said, keep them distracted. They don't know we use their identity. That single sentence, just one sentence, was enough to trigger a deeper investigation into your area. Because when criminals get comfortable, they get careless. And when they get careless, they start talking like nobody is listening. But heaven listens. Angels listen. And sometimes, law listens too. Type amen if you feel your protection. 474. Because this isn't only about strangers and shadows. Archangel Michael says there is a woman 2 blocks from you who holds a key piece of the puzzle. She has been pretending to know nothing, pretending she is separate, pretending she is innocent. Sweet voice, soft smile, polite greetings. But behind that sweetness is a history of passing envelopes and carrying information like a courier of destruction. She didn't expect things to move this fast. She thought she had time. But Archangel Michael says, nothing hidden stays hidden forever. And when the police knock, what she buried will surface. When they ask the right question, she will stutter. When they mention the right name, her face will change. When they bring out what they already know, her innocent act will collapse. Type amen if you want divine exposure. 777. The reason this has felt so strange is because you were being watched quietly while someone tried to build a false story around you. You were being placed inside a narrative that didn't belong to you. Like someone writing your name into a script you never agreed to act in. Archangel Michael says, someone planted a false narrative about you to cover their own crimes. They whispered stories. They hinted things. They tried to distort how people see you. They wanted the neighborhood to look at you differently. So if the truth ever came out, everyone would already be ready to blame you. But their plan is collapsing, because the truth has a way of surviving every attempt to bury it. And now, the truth is armed with evidence, recordings, files, Messages. Screenshots they forgot existed. Digital trails they thought they erased. Archangel Michael says, they've erased chats, burned pages, but the digital world remembers it all. And so do the angels who watch the betrayal unfold. Type Amen if you're ready for restoration. 222. Stay calm. Not because it's nothing, but because panic makes you loud in the wrong way. Archangel Michael says, stay calm even when others panic. You were chosen to see this unfold because you were wrongfully dragged into it. You may hear footsteps soon. Hallway Gate Street. But remember, they're not coming with chaos. They're coming with clarity. 2 officers have been assigned specifically to your block. Focused, narrow, precise. Because the information they received has narrowed the target. And hear this clearly. They're not coming for you. They're coming because of you. Because you're the witness they were waiting for. The missing piece that makes the whole case make sense. You might be asked questions, but not as an accused. As the person whose name was used and must now be officially protected. Type Amen if you receive courage. 505. A piece of white paper was found near your address. Something that contained a map, highlighted names, and a plan. And your name. Circled, starred, underlined twice. That is not spiritual imagination. That is the pattern of a setup. Someone intended to use you as a scapegoat if things went wrong. But heaven has already interrupted their timeline. A call came from a different city, an anonymous tip-off, and that call saved your name from being buried under false accusations. The one who made that call did it quietly, but heaven knows who they are. Archangel Michael says, hold your head high. You survived being used, being lied about, and being watched in silence. Now you will be honored in public for the pain you endured in private. Type Amen if you accept elevation. 444. They run. Archangel Michael says, don't be surprised if a neighbor suddenly moves out. That's a sign someone knows they're about to be exposed. The guilty don't wait for justice. They try to escape before it knocks. So if you see odd movement, packed bags, sudden quiet, a change in routine, don't ignore it. Not because you should fear them, but because it confirms what your spirit already knew. There's also a man involved who hasn't stepped into your street for weeks, but he's been watching through a third party. He knew that if you found out the truth, it would collapse his plans. So he kept you unaware on purpose. Not because you were weak, but because your honesty threatened their lies. And now your honesty is pulling everything into light. Type Amen if you claim your peace. 848. Your peace is returning. But first, the mask must fall from every deceiver's face. That means you will see certain people act strange. One person will suddenly become overly friendly. Another will try to check on you when they never cared before. Another will start spreading softer rumors to cover the older ones. But you must stay wise, because not everyone deserves access to your healed version. Some people will come seeking forgiveness only after they get caught. Some people will say, we always believed you, only after the truth becomes public, but you know who stood with you when you were being misunderstood. Choose your peace, not their excuses. Type Amen if you choose yourself. 626. This is spiritual, because what was done to you wasn't only a legal violation. It was an energetic violation. They tried to attach darkness to your name. They tried to stain your identity. But there is a shield over your house. Archangel Michael says, every move made against you has hit a wall of divine fire. That is why none of their lies could completely ruin you. That is why, even when you felt heavy, you still survived. Even when you felt watched, you still stayed standing. Even when you felt confused, you still kept your dignity. And soon you will meet an officer, someone in authority, who believes in your innocence deeply. Not all in power are corrupt. Not all in authority are blind. This one has been fighting behind the scenes to make sure your name is protected. Type Amen if you feel divine protection. 919. Someone will be handcuffed in your street soon. It will send waves across the neighborhood. Curtains will move. Doors will crack open. Whispers will turn into silence. And in that same moment, your name will begin to clear. Archangel Michael says, the arrest will be public, and the confession will come even before the trial. The person who tried to trap you will try to cry their way out. They will try to act like they are the victim, but even their tears won't dissolve the evidence. Truth has eyes, and truth has finally seen everything. You don't have to seek revenge. Angels are already standing where your enemies once plotted. Let them watch as grace writes your justice in headlines. Type Amen if you release revenge and choose restoration. 717. A better place. a new beginning. You may leave behind the neighborhood that once whispered about you. You may step into a space where no one can attach you to falsehood again, because this is not only your breakthrough, it's your rebirth. Archangel Michael says, "You will be honored in public for what you endured in private, and the same people who doubted you will witness it. They'll wish they had never written your name in that list." Justice delayed is not justice denied. Your moment is now. So tonight, if you hear movement, if you sense a shift, if the streetlights feel brighter, remember, it's not paranoia, it's prophecy unfolding. Type Amen if you claim divine justice and a clean new chapter. 1212.